The child beauty queen found dead in the family home, and the parents quickly became the prime suspects. In a brand new book, insider information seems to suggest the Ramseys could not have been the killers. Here's Talia Cunningham from our affiliate in Denver.
JonBenét Ramsey was strangled to death. Her body found in her parents' basement along with a ransom note. Her murder remains a mystery, with several theories on what really happened on December 26th of 1996. Were family members involved, or was the crime committed by an intruder? No one really knows, but Boulder police leading the investigation, and the department's handlings haven't gone without scrutiny over the years. Questions remain about crucial DNA evidence found at the scene and underneath the beauty queen's fingernails.
Boulder police decided on the first day that either John or Patsy killed JonBenét. They did not want to stray off of that, and for 26 years, they just ignore evidence that doesn't coincide with what they believe.
That's Paula Woodward, a longtime local investigative journalist who's been reporting on the case since it happened, writing 2 books about the murder mystery herself.
It's not a new document. It's one that was ignored.
Woodward is referring to an unearthed DNA test conducted shortly after JonBenét was killed that she says eliminates the 6-year-old's mother, father, and brother as the possible killer.
They were all eliminated. The DNA did not match them.
An alleged unredacted copy of the DNA results from a lead detective in the case revealed in a new book, claiming Boulder police hid the results and waited months before sharing them with the district attorney.
And that new book is set for release this Tuesday. You saw the title, Lou and JonBenét, a legendary lawman's quest to solve a child beauty queen's murder. And that author joins us now, John Wesley Anderson. John, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure to be with you.
So this DNA evidence is not new. It was hidden, according to your book. Can you talk a little bit about the DNA evidence found at the murder scene and how it eliminates the Ramseys as the potential killer here?
Yes, I can. The report to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI, was spent on December 30, 1996, just 4 days after the murder. It included the DNA or the biological samples, blood samples of 10 people, to include the Ramsey family, Patsy and John and Burke Ramsey, who were in the home at the time. The analysis of that report came back within 3 weeks, excluding any of the Ramsey family members and other people that were in the home at the time. That report was not provided to the district attorney's office in Boulder until July of 1997. My former partner, Lou Smith, who I focused on with the book and tell the story through his eyes, told me that report was months delayed, and that was one of the documents that was in his investigative files when he left the DA's office 18 months later to continue the case on his own.
Is this something that simply slipped through the cracks, or was it hidden deliberately?
No, it was not something that just slipped through the cracks. That was something that was not made available. There was a lot of information and misinformation, disinformation that was provided by the police, but the Ramseys themselves were not provided this document for months and months, if not years later. And it's one of the reasons why this book was essential to be written now, so that some of this evidence can be produced. My former partner, Lou Smith, also revealed many other things that were not consistent with what the police were saying. There was forced entry into the home in the basement. There was no footprints in the snow because there was no snow. He spent the rest of his life working the case on his own time, his own expense, until he passed away in 2010. So there's probably nobody who knew the investigation, the case, as well as Lou Smith. In the book are 36 of his original slides, and then there's another 20 slides of his that are on the photo gallery that my publisher has made available.
To your knowledge, is there any evidence to prove who the killer is? There's
definitely evidence through the DNA to prove who is not the killer. The genetic markers are intact. That's what excluded the Ramsey family. That's what our small team of retired detectives and family members of Lou have been using to exclude persons of interest. On our own, we've collected and tested and paid for DNA on at least 12 people of interest from Lou's investigative files. So those genetic markers can be used that are there today to eliminate people of interest.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.